Hello? Is this the sucker residence? Got you. Stop calling here. Isn't this 4215 way? You! Now let me check the zip code. 212. You! The police are tracing this call this very minute. Well, Donnie Hinkle, then why aren't they here, huh? Face! You! Well, I beg your pardon. This is Mrs. Wilson from the telephone company. I'm sorry, Miss Wilson, but this is driving me crazy. And what exactly does this sick individual say to you? Well, I can't say that. I don't use bad language. Well, I know it may be difficult, but we need to hear the exact words. Well, I'll try. Sucker. That's what she calls me. Sucker. Ha ha! Listen to your filthy mouth, you little whore! Hi you guys, welcome back to my channel. It's Tyra here with another struggle review, here to discuss Serial Mom. Now this movie is from 1994 and it stars Kathleen Turner. Now before we get into all things poor Dottie Hinkle, damn Dottie, I need you guys to drop down and subscribe to my channel and like this video. I'm going to give you guys a moment to do that, then we're going to come back and discuss. If you ever in your life just so happen to get a neighbor like Beverly, just move away. Just pack your stuff up and move away. I swear it's not worth it. We are not trying to lose our lives behind not recycling.
Go back.
Now that you guys have hopefully subscribed to see more of me, let's get into this movie. But before we jump into the film, I have to give a shout out to the person who paid for it and requested it. So if you happen to watch the birds chirping outside of your window on a Sunday afternoon like, ooh-wee, 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 it's not because of me. It's because of this person right here. Thank you so much for supporting me and paying for this content. Now, this was actually my first time ever seeing this film in my life. And if you couldn't already tell, I enjoyed my time with it. Probably because this movie was written and directed by Joan Waters, aka Pencil Thin Mustache. With me seeing his other films such as Pink Flamingos, Polyester, Hairspray, and Crybaby, I low-key already knew what to expect with this movie. Joan Waters is a special kind of director with most of his movies containing many of the same themes. We often use the same actors. We always have a Baltimore location, lowbrow, low budget, sleazy, revolting, dark, risky, dare I say just downright trashy. But we can also be comical, thought-provoking, genius, satirical, clever, musicals, statement pieces that transcend and most of the time were ahead of its time. Inclusive and weirdly groundbreaking. With something like Serial Mom all the way back to the movies he did with Drag Queen Divine, everything makes a statement. Stating that even as a child, he was always drawn to movies and subject matter that was taboo. And that shows in every single movie that he puts out. They are uniquely his own and spectacular. For good or for bad, whether you like them or not, whether you find them to be gross or problematic or not, they are never, ever, ever boring. And with this being yet another satirical dark comedy with scenes like the sun'll come out tomorrow, Andy playing in the background as we wait for Beverly's behind to roll up and beat yet another victim with the thickest leg of meat that I've ever seen in my life until she's bloody. This personifies John's twisted taste in comedy. Though this ended up being a cult classic, it bombed at the box office. Which is unfortunate because I feel like this movie, much like a Hairspray, is a real comfort zone for somebody like Joan Waters. It's just enough surrealism mixed with his dark, warped sense of humor. It's, digestible. Not that we would want to be digestible. Now, in this white, suburban, Pleasantville, Joan Cleaver-esque setting, we meet the perfection that is the Sutphin family. Dentist dad Eugene, daughter Misty, John Chip, and most of all, their mom, Beverly, who won't even allow the disgusting decision to chew gum inside the house or a nagging housefly to ruin her picturesque breakfast. Now, is this Beverly just being a great mother with expectations, or is this her killer instinct? The world may never know, but what we do know is the police is currently on the hunt for a local neighborhood prankster, leaving obscene phone calls as well as notes for Dottie Hinkle. Notes that call her terrible things like face. Who could be doing that? Now, is it some perverted, crazed male maniac? No, it just happens to be her own neighbor, Beverly, taunting neighbor Dottie purely for her own amusement, watching her suffer to no end, all because she stole her parking spot. This innocent, sweet, leave it to Cleaver PTA mom persona that she puts on isn't all that it seems. Or is it? We really don't know when it comes to her, but what we do know is that anybody who crosses her, as well as her family, can get it. From Dottie all the way down to a teacher. A concerned teacher who feels her son Chip may need a little bit of therapy due to his horror obsession and the pictures that he draws because of it. No one talks about my family. Now I have to run your ass over. Like, what? Like, in broad daylight, even with a witness present, Beverly never thinks about any consequences due to the actions of murder. She just does it. Unhinged, lethal, and equipped with any weapon that's available to her at the moment, from a vehicle to an open flame. Beverly will literally kill you and go home to make her family a 4-course meal. Now, what I love about Beverly here is that she represents your average, everyday person, everyday sane person, the last person that you expect to be acting on strictly impulse. Because how many times have you made a remark or wanted to cause bodily harm to that one person who cut you off or said something that you didn't like? It just goes to show that we're all like maybe one grain of salt away from like everybody has enough impulse to maybe go a little crazy. Now, Beverly does take this a step further, reading and obsessing over serial killers in her spare time, all while collecting her own body count. But nobody suspects her, with her being an upstanding, white, innocent, blonde American housewife and mom. Though evidence continues to pile up, Beverly could care less or give a damn. I love the fact that the two only real people who do suspect her, maybe even outside of the officers, or two women who just so happen to not be as blunt or apple pie as Beverly, Rosemary and Dottie. When history has shown us repeatedly that blonde-haired offenders do often get an easier time, especially if they're attractive. Like, do you not see that the letters that were clipped out for this obscene ass note are coming from the magazines that were in Beverly's garbage? Yeah, but she's a devoted mother who doesn't allow her children to use brown words. Because you know I hate the brown words. Now, I also really enjoyed the running theme of obsession in this movie, just to show that it isn't just Beverly who's a little crazy. Everybody in this movie has their own equal obsessions with something. Like Ricki Lake Misty, daughter, having an obsession with boys. That's all she cares about, all she ever talks about. Our son Chip has an obsession with horror movies, horror graphics, everything bloody and gory, even down to our devoted husband. Eugene, who believes that everyone and anyone who does the smallest of crimes deserves the death penalty. They should be punished to the full extent. Though with a pile of evidence in our face, like an autographed photo from Richard Speck or tapes from Ted Bundy. My wife is not only infatuated with serial killers, but she just happens to be one. Never ever reacts to the killings going on in the town like a rational, normal person. Oh, honey, such and such died. Oh, wow. So what do you want for lunch? Like, she don't give a damn. We are obsessed with standing by our wife, no matter what. Clearly, Beverly had the boom boom, the Santeria, like that whole sex scene where they are trying to be quiet and Beverly goes out of her way to make sure she's loud as hell and that the children hear them. It's just absolutely insane. That was so funny to me. That was right next to her constantly plotting on the equally porn-obsessed best friend, Scotty. Yeah, you know Scotty who drives his car and doesn't wear a seatbelt. Yeah, that's Scotty. Like, oh, we are plotting to kill Scotty. Clearly, the first chance that we get. I'm just waiting on a reason. Though all the evidence constantly points directly to her, Beverly is not only in good standing with her family, but even with the local garbage men. I just love the fact that we have Beverly running around killing people for the smallest infraction. Not only her, but the garbage man sitting there plotting on the fact that Rosemary deserves to die, strictly based off of the strip that she does. You have the audacity not to recycle? I recycle and I'm Beverly. Like, the fact that she was plotting the whole time to really cover her tracks, though throughout the movie it looks like she's aimlessly running around killing people, she is still covering herself. Like the fact that we are using scissor and fire irons of Rosemary's to commit murders, getting the garbage man on her side to do her bidding in the courtroom later, banking on the fact that the one witness that she felt like seeing her is an unreliable stoner. No matter the amount of evidence that you have, I am untouchable and can do whatever the hell I please. That is the whitest stuff ever. Beverly is just an agent of chaos, especially when it comes to Dottie. I think her dynamic with Dottie is my favorite, when she goes over to Rosemary's house and taunts her with the P word, but uses Willows. Like, oh, that whole deep distinction that's in that sultry Kathleen Turner's voice, it really works here in this role. Willows, like, oh, I know that anywhere. You have been the one calling me. Like, Beverly is just such an ass, even breaking Rosemary's Fabergé egg and blaming it on Dottie to ensure that no one is ever in her corner. Just a sick woman over a parking spot. And also drop down and let me know what was just so slapping about Officer Pike. Why did everybody want to give it to Officer Pike? Now, the movie gets really funny once you feel like the gag and the charade is up. Now that the fact that her family is noticing something is wrong with mom, it's a little bit too much evidence. Everything is pointing in her direction. She is a crazed serial killer. Yet and still, you have Eugene. It doesn't matter, honey. We can get through this. We'll love your mother no matter what. Maybe she needs some psychiatric help. Maybe there's a book that I can read. Even though you just killed my boyfriend in a bathroom because he stood me up and came to this fair with another girl, I'm still going to remain equally as boy crazed as before and really not care after the deed is done. Then we get into the son. He just feels like this is maybe the best thing in the world. Not only am I obsessed with horror and maybe something like a serial killer, but I have my very own mother doing horrific things. She is uplifted and revered in it. Matter of fact, I might just hide her so she doesn't get detained. But that should be the least of Beverly's worries, because Rosemary saw blood dripping like a runny nose. Oh, the horror! Like, I love all the sick, perverse things that we have coinciding with all of the murders that are taking place with Beverly. I love when she kills the boyfriend in the bathroom. It's just like, well, I'm killing people, but I don't want to touch it. I wouldn't want to get dirty. Like, you have those things happening, but you're busy paying attention to, like, oh my God, did somebody just walk out of the bathroom without washing their hands? Is that a peeping Tom looking through a peeping hole in the freaking bathroom? Did someone just bring food in the bathroom with them to eat it? Did this lady just instruct her dog to suck and lick her feet as she washes Annie? And just how long and how often does best friend Scotty have to watch porn turn himself off. Like, oh my gosh, start, take a break. You're about to yank it away. So many little sick distractions. You're just sitting around waiting for somebody to stop Beverly. If not her family, then it has to be the freaking police. Scotty's parents' death is probably my favorite. I love that she's so impulsive that it's just like, oh, it's just so earnest. I have to kill this person and I have to do it now. But since I'm here, even though I'm strictly here for Scotty, who keeps running his mouth, actually look at his parents. Let me find a reason to kill his parents. You know what? Look at them tearing down that chicken, eating chicken. Doesn't chicken come from birds? I love birds. Y'all need to die. Like, with the police and her family constantly on her trail, there was just so much opportunity and evidence for Beverly to get caught, just for her to keep walking away. This is definitely a play on real life events, like the Ken and Barbie killing combo, where Carla only received 12 years for the part that she played in their murders. Mary Kathleen Turner, who was given chance after chance, and even later ended up with the same child that she was assaulting and victimizing and having babies by. Y'all remember Billy? I do. Or even Casey Anthony, who I think all of us always felt like she had a hand, or 5, in killing her own child. All the evidence points to this, and yet this woman is still walking around free. Even getting into John Waters being the cheeky guy that he is, Patty Hearst, the real life Patty Hearst, is actually in this movie, the infamous juror who has on all white after Labor Day. And it kills Beverly to see it. She is divisive to a lot of people in the fact that she isn't still in jail and that she is out living her best life. With some feeling like she wasn't brainwashed, kidnapped, and coerced into joining these radicals, and that she did things, you know, like murder, bank robbery, and a whole bunch of other stuff, all because she wanted to. As divided as the case may be, Patty was free to walk around after serving some jail time. We just know that the playing field has never been equal. Not, you know, with Beverly being in the house of God, sneezing on babies like... Her sneezing on that baby in that church after all eyes were on her, like, oh my God, she's a murderer. But yet again, we're all, you know, attending church, as if Beverly isn't a threat to every single person that she stands next to. But like, her sneezing on that freaking baby took me out. The killing spree going on for so long, going unchecked and being so frequent. By the time we got to Scotty, and she is just pretty much a local celebrity, and everybody is just so amazed at the fact that she is running around killing people, to the point that we assist her in the killing of Scotty. No one has any real regard for anybody's life. We just feel like Beverly is the most amazing thing ever. This is your Ted Bundys, your Charles Mansons, your Jeffrey Dahmers, any other serial killer that we made famous instead of just infamous. They have endless films, books, devoted fans, merchandise, series, and endless revenue. Everyone is so in love with Beverly and so focused on capitalizing on the moment instead of focusing on what she did to get there in the first place and the murders that have been committed. Once it's time for the actual trial, Beverly has absolutely no intentions on taking it serious because she knows that she's not going to do any time. I'm charming, still obsessing over frivolous things like somebody chewing gum inside or somebody deciding to wear white after Labor Day. And who said I needed a lawyer or an insanity plea in the first place? Just as cocky, arrogant, intellectual, and self-righteous as the killers that I mentioned before, Ted Bundy and Charles Manson, I can defend myself. I don't need a lawyer. Now, every single bit of the courtroom scene is funny. Dottie is always going to take the cake. Like, why she have to do Dottie Hinkle like this? Like, enticing her to curse. Like, do you guys not see what's going on? Like, did you not see? Did you not see and hear what she just said to me? All the way down to us having Suzanne Somers come through as a distraction. You know, there's always somebody waiting in the wind for book rights or movie rights to get that starring role. But all the while, this is strictly just a distraction from the task at hand. I love the fact that she had all her ducks in the row. And then we have that one particular witness that she didn't know was in that bathroom, that freaking peeping Tom, little weirdo, who she just flashes her cootie cat to death, and he just forgets and dismisses every single piece of evidence that he saw. Like, even get into the freaking cop turning the whole thing on its head of him going through her trash. Now, I went through your trash and I saw this particular magazine. turning everybody's evidence and testimonies on its head, incriminating poor Rosemary. Like, it took me a minute to realize, oh my God, Rosemary sounds so freaking familiar because it's Mrs. Puff from SpongeBob. Everything was just so funny but so realistic at the same time. If you like a killer or whatever well enough, then you will forget about the victims. We will dead ass forget, all because an attractive serial killer flashed us her pussy willows. Like, oh, terrible, terrible system. Of course, in the end, Beverly gets off like we always knew she would. Was she changed for the better? Of course not. She always had an agenda to do what she wanted, which was be a mother, a wife, and a murderer. All the way to the fact that as soon as we get off, we cannot contain ourselves. Though we are happy to have our freedom, it's one particular juror that just kept on wearing white shoes. Not after Labor Day. Beverly is a vindicated killer. Hit that like button before I flash you my pussy willows. Like, no, I'm just joking. I'm kidding. Well, you guys, that was my review for Serial Mom. I hope you enjoyed it. Please drop down and tell me if you did. Did I touch on a few points? Did I wake you up on some things you didn't notice about the film? Or did you know all of this way back when you first watched it? I look forward to hearing and reading everything that you guys have to say. Thank you so much for watching this video. I see you guys next time. Bye.
Commissioner!